We are live here on Popcorn Planet with the main story, which is the fact that Johnny Depp won. And yes, I'm here with Steph and Lewis, and we are going to talk this out further. We have a lot to talk about in the show, but I wanted to trim this portion and talk about more of our reactions, your reactions, some other reactions we're seeing online. But most importantly, the news' reactions. And I got to say, I'm annoyed, guys. That's why I did the video this morning, because I wanted to really help get the truth out there. And I hope you guys will spread the video I did this morning where we went through her statement. But I'm just getting really annoyed with all these headlines. Look at this. Hollywood Reporter, Amber Heard settles defamation fight. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp announced defamation suit settlement. Amber Heard says she has settled defamation lawsuit with Johnny Depp, settles defamation case. Here's the problem. Amber Heard settles defamation case. This is not an act of concession. Now, Variety is the first one that gives like a proper headline. Amber Heard to pay $1 million to Johnny Depp in settlement of legal battle. Now, that's better. But the problem I have with a lot of this is it all just sounds like there's a trick they're doing here. Are you guys noticing what I'm trying to get at? It looks like they're trying to say they're settling the case. Oh, Johnny and Amber are settling. It's the whole thing went out the window, and oh, they both are shaking hands and agreeing, let's move on. And no, that's not true. Amber Heard lost. She still lost. And in this settlement of her judgment is what actually happened. This was all about the appeal, and she gave up her appeal, and she made a deal with Johnny to deal on the judgment. So she doesn't owe him $10 million. She agreed, and Johnny doesn't have to pay her $2 million. He doesn't pay her. She has to pay him $1 million because she doesn't have $10 million, guys. A lot of people are like upset that he's doing this. You think she was ever going to give him $10 million? Never. She was never going to give him a dime. The insurance company's going to pay him $1 million because they realize we got to get this over with. This is really bad news for them. They've been covering her for a while. She lost this case wholeheartedly. There's no ifs, ands about it. And all these media outlets talking about settling the defamation fight. No. She gave in, and she agreed they agreed on a financial settlement to drop the appeals. But the case itself stands. And it's incredibly important to keep reminding people out there, because this feels like it was all part of the plan. That's why I want to talk about with you guys, react with you guys, and really think about this a little deeper, because it really does feel like Amber's whole goal was to set this plan in motion to get the Cats, the Taylor Lorenz's, all her little supporters, her PR firm at David Shane, etc., to discredit me, Real Laura B, Tug, all of us, and really start this initiative to believe all women, believe Amber, she's a victim. They've been doing it since the summer, or all these past months, doing these little steps along the way to give her more victimness. And it just seems clear that they were never going to actually follow through on this suit and the appeal. They knew. They put all those Amica briefs out. They did all this stuff to use the appeal process to plant the seeds months ago of she's going to fight her appeal. She's going to fight her appeal. She's got this, she got this, she got this. And it's all media spin. It's all PR tactics to try to deal with this loss in a way where she can trick everybody and lie once again. And of course we see right through it, but I'm just worried when I look through these headlines, a lot of people are going to read this and go, oh, finally, those two idiots, they got it over with. I guess they both were wrong. And that's not what happened. Steph, I want to go back to you. As you scroll through these headlines, do you share my frustration?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like all smarmily pro Amber Heard. It's Amber Heard settled. Amber Heard says she settled. No. All the cards were in Johnny Depp's hands. Amber Heard didn't have any power really to settle. If Johnny Depp didn't want to settle, there would be no settlement. It is as simple as that. If anything, it should be Johnny Depp settled with Amber Heard, not the other way around. Because Amber Heard at that point had no power at all and had no money, no backing, no nothing. And he held all the cards. So, yeah, it's absolutely frustrating. But then again, what are we to expect from the mainstream media? Still all majority pro Amber Heard, pro believe all women. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I come to you next, Lewis, but it's just like it bothers me because look, I understand why he wanted to move on, guys. We got to talk to him, and I really believe he wants to move on. I totally understand the want and desire to move on, and I think he did a good deal. I bet you there's not much more money probably I'd actually gotten out of this whole deal, and so for him to be able to end this is wise. But I think his team, his legal team, his advisors should have been more on top of a PR plan to combat this. Because, you know, maybe they couldn't. Maybe that's the problem, right? Because Johnny's always just they just hate him. But to see all these outlets cover it this way, to not have more of a response ready from how Brown Rudnick and stuff is troubling. You know, and some of them, they announced defamation suit settlement. But again, that's not what this is. And it's really bothering me that the statement wasn't even more clear cut. It was sort of a lot of stuff in there, and here I have it, and here it is. Here's like the press release when you see it of Brown Rudnick helps Johnny Depp resolve defamation case. Like even that headline bothers me. like what? I just don't get it. They help Johnny resolve the defamation case. How about Johnny Depp wins? You know what I mean? Like this stuff out there is not making me as happy as I feel like we should be. And look, let's be clear. I am happy. Like, I'm glad this is wrapping up. We all need to do it. But I feel like everybody's letting Amber get a lot of points on this, and it's not fair. It's not right. Lewis, what are your thoughts on this?
I am sick of the mainstream media ignoring everybody, especially in this case. They are ignoring women. It's so disrespectful, man. And look, they have a history of oppressing people. Most of these outlets have a history of probably being using discriminatory action, so they will not take Johnny Depp's side because they're over projecting. I am so sick of them manipulating words, ignoring people, putting words in people's mouths, ignoring the vast majority of people that do not agree with Amber Heard here. And it's terrible. They're manipulating words. They're making it seem like Amber Heard is calling the shots. That's exactly what they're doing. All the headlines are making it seem like Amber Heard is dictating what goes on, and that's not the story here, okay? It's total BS. This is, again, reminder, this is a marathon, not a sprint. They are going to keep going. They're going to keep going in the long run, okay? When a trial case was on, everybody was into the trial. Everyone was in Johnny Depp's side paying attention. Once Johnny Depp won, people let their guards down. They thought, hey, that's it. We won, right? Here we are several months later, and they're going to be picking up steam, guys. Just be ready. Keep supporting. Keep aware. Keep informed. Keep the energy.
Yeah, I know 100%. That's where I'm worried here, because it's like, yeah, I'm happy it's over. I want to move on just as much as everybody else. I really do. I don't want to report about this woman ever again.
No.
But that's my next problem of it's just like, it just seems like she's not going to stop. And that's my next question. And sort of as we talk about this, like, will she stop? Is she ever going to give up and move on? Because if you didn't watch my morning video, I'm not going to go through it all again. I hope you guys will. I went through and I redlined everything to talk about what all the lies that she's talking about in here. And there's a lot of bullshit in here, a lot of bullshit. And she makes it very clear. Like she says, like, what was this part here? I do want to read this one part. This is not an act of concession. There are no restrictions or gags with respect to my voice moving forward. It's like there never really was. There was an agreement they both made that they wouldn't talk about the divorce, right? And that she would give this money and that they'd move on. She broke that agreement. He didn't sue her for that. He could have. He could have gone over breach of contract and he'd done that. But no, she's always been allowed to have her voice. But once it got so far gone and she's then decided to do a whole op-ed piece, he was like, enough is enough. I'm done. And that's what ultimately happened here. She could only get so far. And he finally was like, all right, enough of this. I'm going to fight you on it. And so this whole victimness is so disgusting. And at the end, she speaks, Steph, I'm going to go to you because will she ever let up is the question. But also this thing, I saw a lot of people trending today. Amber Heard does not speak for me. Any survivor knows that the ability to tell their story often feels like the only relief. I cannot find enough words to tell you the hope your belief in me inspires, not just for me, but for all of you. Thank you. See you soon. Like, what a selfish, self-obsessed, like disgusting generalization, speaking on behalf of survivors. She's once again using survivors to make herself be more of a victim. And I imagine, Steph, that makes you very upset.
As far as I'm concerned, piss off, you cowbag. Amber Heard does not speak for me. It is as simple as that. I do not see her as being part of the survivorship community at all. There is a special kind of hell for people that lie about being a survivor. And I hope she rots in hell forever and ever and ever. Amen.
See, there's the color. I love it. It's so much better when she gets to, she turns into like anger from inside out. But yeah, I mean, it's like, it's messed up, and it doesn't seem like she's going to stop. So going back to both of you, and Steph, you're there so you can start it. Do you think there's a point where she's going to realize, okay, I got to just move on? I mean, everything I'm gathering from experts online, legal, etc. Christopher Deadline even said it. I think I have it here. There was a point I had here where a little clip that basically confirms that she's contrary to what she says. You know, the verdict still stands, and yes, he could enforce if she repeatedly says the same statements of defamation that she lost. He could sue again. Do you think that's going to stop her? Or do you think she's going to really keep trying to get herself in trouble here? What do you think, Steph?
So we were talking about this on last night's stream when Christopher Melcher was in, and he says that she does have a safe space in terms of what she can talk about, which is the trial, right? So she can talk about that. She can talk about what happened. That's her safe space. But if she goes back to what she said in the article and, says quite point blank, Johnny Depp's a monster, Johnny Depp's a monster, Johnny Depp did this to me, blah, 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 then yeah, she is on the hook again to be sued again for defamation. There is a fine line though, and I think she's going to dance that fine line that's like there's no tomorrow. She's going to do everything that she can, as far as I'm concerned, to try and get her career back on track. She ain't going to shut up until she's got it back. She just isn't. Yeah.
Lewis,
stay tuned, guys.
She's going to shut up because she doesn't want to get sued. But why? But she doesn't have to say anything because obviously she has the entire mainstream media on her side as her mouthpiece. So she's going to keep going through the mainstream media. They're going to keep going a year from now, 2 years from now, and then they're going to try to bring her back to a major studio, right? And I think, I'm sorry, everyone gets upset at me when I say this, but I think in the long run, they have the upper hand because these big corporate-owned news outlets have millions of dollars promoting their outlet, and most people are not paying attention. Sure, Popcorn Planet, 2-3 million views, but we're going against outlets that have 15 million views, 20 million views, and they just get in the mainstream. We're not mainstream, although like our circle's big. That's a perception. The mainstream media is another dimension. They're going to keep going. Again, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And she's going to shut up because she doesn't want to get sued again. But she has everyone else, like the Eve Barlows and everybody, sharing the information. And, that's what's going to happen. She's going to try to change public perception. And I think it's going to work in the long run.
But Lewis, in terms of what you said there, she's gonna bang on about the trial was unfair, that they should have included this evidence and this evidence, blah blah blah. Think about what she said in her statement on Instagram when the news broke that the settlement was reached. She's just gonna continue to bang that drum. There's no faith in the legal system anymore for us survivors because look what happened to me, blah, blah, blah. I was humiliated, just like so many other survivors that have got to go through this, blah, 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 blah. That, I guarantee you, mark my words, that is the storyline that she's going to go with. And she ain't going to stop with that.
No, it's very simple. It's aimed to the simple-minded. It's aimed to the person that didn't research, didn't follow the trial, and it's going to keep the best slogans are a couple words. You know what I mean? That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a slogan. And I'm telling you right now, everyone watching, keep sharing these type of videos, keep supporting, and keep educated and stuff. And you don't have to lie. You don't have to be like them. We use the truth. We use the facts, and we win all the time.
And don't forget also, like, as I'm going through Instagram, like she also like put that statement out before the trial even begun when she wasn't allowed to. Like she was not supposed to say anything. And she, right before the trial started, put this whole like speech out beforehand, which could have gotten to jury members. And so it's just, she's been calculated this whole damn time. And yeah, it's just look, here's a good comment that Theta says. I think Johnny could care less at how it looks. He's just celebrating being free of the psychotic witch. If he doesn't care, I don't either. Mainstream media is crap. Theta, you make a good point. Like and I believe it. I think Johnny's just like, enough already. I'm moving on. Let's focus on it, of course. But at the same time, I do think he wants us to make sure we're not letting this narrative get out of hand. People out there to keep the truth out there, because look, when the mainstream media is lying, like they're not reporting this right. And the problem is, Theta, you, me, all of us watch the trial. We know the information, and I just hate for all that work to go out the window because the media is just not going to cover it wrong. No, you got to pressure them. You got to pressure the media. You got to tell the truth, and that's what we're doing here. So I hear what you're saying, and I think he's in a good place. There's obviously celebrating. There was yesterday. There will continue to be. But we got to call out the media once again for how bullshit it is. Trixie says, final outcome, Depp wins. All us heard drops appeal. Yep. She won't move on because she has nothing else, says Lori. I think she wants to be sued again in order to have a new trial, says Lynn, is another theory. There's, yeah, look, that's the reality. Will she move on? I don't think she will, but I don't think it's going to be immediate, her responses. I think she's just going to eventually not be able to help herself and do something. There's going to be some sort of Amber podcast, of course. She's going to talk to she's going to go on Emily Ratajkowski's podcast or something and start giving little tidbits and try to do more damage control. And that's going to be her life moving forward, is to try to get some damage control, to play the victim, and to be able to get some gigs via that way. And there's going to be some people who will support that cause and help her. Look, she is allowed to work again. Like she's allowed, a human being. She's not in jail. Some of you think she should be, but she's not. That's I just wish she would go focus on her stuff, go find work, go do other stuff, and stop talking about Johnny. Like, enough. If Johnny's not talking about her, he's really not. He's done no interviews, no statements, nothing. Didn't even make a statement of this. He let his attorneys sort of respond. And bravo to him for that. Amber's got to always say something and continue to say something about it. It's time to move on. You've settled it. We've all heard you settle it. You're not fighting it anymore. So I hope she moves on. I'm going to put a poll in a second to see what you guys think. There's lots more to go through. Plus, Steph was made a video today earlier, or I guess you are making a video about his lawyers. Have they been? Did they know about this for a while? Right? Is it coming? We're going to go through some more of that and a lot more reactions and things on today's live. So don't go anywhere. I'm just clipping it here for the sake of YouTube. In fact, I just pressed record now, and you're watching the members only portion of the show. If you're live still, make sure you hit join to make sure you always catch the replays at your leisure. Pick a tier, hit join, and you'll be not only watching all the replays, but you'll be supporting Popcorn Planet.